Briefly, I'll just give you a quick introduction to who we are, and then talk, as we all are, about what we've done at the Olympics and what we hope to do in the future. CT was established about 26 years ago, and we are one of the world's largest specialist AV suppliers. We operate throughout the corporate, entertainment, television and music world, and we've got operations in Europe, the Middle East, Asia and the US, about 400 people, and we're a wholly owned subsidiary of a group called Avesco. One of the things, and this relates back to a question a gentleman over there asked earlier about kind of how can we take things forward into Rio, Sochi and things like that. One of the things we did in preparation for the Olympics is we formed a joint venture with another specialist audio company, which gave us an opportunity with Local, where we had a creative technology with the management and financial infrastructure and a strong PLC backing. Delta Sound, who are our partner, who significantly broadened our audio experience, and we engaged and partnered with an individual from Australia who had enormous Olympic experience. And that enabled us, A, to win the contract to supply all the audio and wired communication systems within every venue at the Olympics. But it's also given us a business that is now, and it's already engaged, providing consultancy and ultimately, hopefully, services to future games. So I think a lesson for the Brits here that are trying to look at how you can take things forward beyond London. I'm very confident that this is going to be a very positive development and something that we can learn from. In terms of AV technology overall in sport, which I think is the thing that I want to focus on, and then talk a little bit about HORSEGUARDS. The scope of what we do really ranges from large screen and flat panel displays through audio systems, content delivery, presentation systems, communications, and increasingly IPTV networks, where we're delivering live video and data streams and being involved in data capture and scoring across IP networking. The specific areas, video boards are probably the most obvious, and my personal background is doing large outdoor video screens. In London, every venue had a video board of one sort or another. It's the first Olympic Games where that's ever been achieved. They were all provided ultimately by Panasonic, but CT was engaged to manage the installation, delivery and operation of all of that equipment throughout every venue. Scoreboards are something that we get very involved in many sports, but actually don't at the Olympics. Scoreboard and video technology generally has converged, and in most sports now, scoring is done on full color video boards, and increasingly the amount of graphic information that's being displayed at sports is growing and becoming more complex as audiences are demanding really the same experience they get at home. Due to sponsor restrictions at the moment at the Olympics, the scoreboards and the video boards are entirely separate. And those of you that visited venues will have seen full color video boards and then a single color yellow or orange scoreboard, which is supplied by Amiga and Swiss Timing. At pretty much every other event that we do these days, we're seeing these two display types being integrated together. So there's a few images there of where the video board and the scoreboard are integrated into one giant display with windows that can be used for either purpose. And I think one of the lessons that perhaps the IOC will take from London, and certainly Panasonic and Amiga, who are the sponsors of the video and the timing services respectively, is that in the main stadium for the opening and closing ceremonies, the video and scoreboards were covered up because from a creative perspective, Danny Boyle and the other producers wanted an integrated display, and we ended up installing 4 screens around the roof of the stadium. And actually the biggest marketing opportunity for Panasonic and Amiga was effectively destroyed because those systems aren't integrated. And I think and I hope in future that will be overcome. The other probably key area of audiovisual in sport is audio. It really is the primary element of good communication at any event. And certainly in London, there was a huge drive from the sport presentation department to create a unique and an incredible atmosphere in every venue, and audio was a fundamental part of that. Loud music, high-powered entertainment before the sports, and obviously the athletes did a fantastic job, but everything else that went on around them was all part of the audience experience, and audio was a big part of that. I'm rattling through these fairly quickly. And then finally, really to talk about sport presentation and the production systems. In every venue in London and at most major sporting events now, there's almost another TV production facility. I think in the main stadium we had 7 cameras. We had a dedicated studio. There were 5 or 6 people involved in a dedicated sport production to produce the content that went on the screens, to produce everything from the kissometer and the bongo clapping meter and all of that kind of thing, which again all creates part of the audience experience. It's not part of the TV. And it was hugely successful at many, many of the events, particularly at beach volleyball, where it was one of the probably highest energy, highest impact sports. Lots of dancing, lots of cheerleaders, all of that kind of thing. So just to put overall scale of what we did in London, I won't go through all the details, but masses of LED screens, masses of people, 150 kilometers of cable, etc. Like everybody, it's been an enormous undertaking. And then just very quickly moving on to HORSEGUARDS and the AV challenges there. The video screens actually were fairly straightforward. They were 40 square meter boards. They weren't particularly big. The challenge probably with the video screens was the structure which Joe and his team provided, one of the most spectacular screen structures in any of the games venue. But the real challenge we had was on the audio side at HORSEGUARDS. As I say, it was a high energy venue, high volume, lots of impact required, but it was also a few meters from David Cameron's back garden and all of the departmental offices in Whitehall. So we adopted an approach. We also had very, very restricted sightlines, very tight areas around a very small field of play. So we had to build speakers and sub-bass systems into the substructure and under the seating. And we put clusters of speakers unusually at the back of the venue, behind the video screens or just to the side of the video screens, almost invisible to the audience, and I don't really have any decent photographs of them, but it enabled us to project the audio down into the bowl rather than the conventional approach, which is where you project the audio up from the field of play or from above and therefore allow it to spread out. And I think one of the technical achievements for us was that there weren't any significant complaints about audio pollution or noise from the immediate environment around the venue, despite it being very loud, very clear music, and great entertainment on the screens.